We stay here on
Yeah,
Skype.
yeah, we stay here. We're live. We're live now. Welcome everyone to the second episode of Web3T. My name is JP Lee. I'm a product manager at VanEck. I am joined today, very exciting show today. I'm joined by Matt Bartlett, who is the head of internal sales, I think, internal sales desk manager at VanEck. And then very excited to introduce Kareem from Brandverse. Brandverse is a very awesome project, and very excited and grateful that he was here today to join us and participate. Um,
Hi,
I,
JP.
Thank you for being here, Kareem. So,
Thank you for.
of course, that's what it's all about. Collaboration. So, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna talk to Kareem for a little while and talk to him about his project. I would love it if the chat is active, right? Like that's why we're doing these YouTube lives so we can have an active back and forth. We can see some chats, and you guys have questions. We'll answer them when we get to them. So awesome. So we're going to talk about Brandverse. We're going to talk to Kareem for a little while. Then we're going to switch. We're going to switch gears, and we're going to start giving some leaks to the VanEck NFT community, right? The VanEck community NFT, which is a very awesome rollout that happened last Monday, right? So I would categorize our reaction to the reception as over the moon. We were blown away, and I'll stop talking. And yeah, great to be here. Thank you, everybody. Kareem, why don't you just give us why don't you give us your elevator pitch introduction? Who are you?
Yeah, hello. First of all, thank you for having me here. It's great to see VanEck dabbling down in the NFT space, and this show is definitely something I'm gonna be watching more often. And to be on the second episode is thank you so much. So, who am I? I'm one of the four co-founders of Brandverse, a Berlin-based startup doing physical and digital wearables. We went out with a different value proposition than the usual wearables companies. So we wanted our brands to be Web3 native. So we wanted to include the voice of our community in the brand. And at first, I'll tell you a little bit about how the idea came alive, if you'd like, so that
Sure.
to give you some structuring. So previously, me and Gabriele, which is one of the second co-founders, one of the four, is we were working at a software startup that allowed e-commerce merchants to automate their logistics. So we were handling basically all the back end for their physical products. We were creating physical products for newly established brands or even brands that already existed and needed help with their manufacturing and custom production, logistics, warehousing, packaging. I noticed a trend, which was I helped brands literally from the start, like they didn't have any presence, and then they slowly grew, and then they scaled to millions. And one thing was common across all these brands is that the person who bought from those brands at the beginning wasn't rewarded when that brand actually escalated. And that person who supported that brand played a really vital role in the brand's success because had that person not bought from that brand, the brand wouldn't be where it was later on in a
Right.
year. So I thought I was already like knees down into NFTs and Web3 by then. And I was like, wait, this concept needs to be Web3 native. So how can the person who supports a brand from an early phase be rewarded? So the only way is through NFTs because it aligns the incentives of both the brand and the community supporting that brand. So we went on with so me and Gabriele decided to co-found Brandverse with Ivan and Stefano, the other two co-founders. And we said, okay, we're going to put the brand creation process in the hands of the community. So we're going to basically allow the community to shape the brand through voting on some elements. And we eventually gave the community the voice by giving them full freedom on brand name after we held some branding sessions and discovered how brand decks are actually made. And then we got like some very interesting submissions on what the people wanted the brand to be called. After that, we got a name. We then needed a logo. And now we can fully say that we have Zena, which is Z3NA, fully Web3 native wearable brand that will come with its physical counterpart as well. And just kind of like to end on that note is basically this whole concept is still in verification mode. So the way we went around with it is to validate that our thesis is actually true. Now that we actually had actionable insight and data that the people actually want to take part in creating brands, we're gonna up that concept really to the next level with the next collection, because name and logo is just a glimpse of what we are capable of in terms of including the people in co-creating the brand.
That's awesome. You know, really, I'm so happy that you got on today, because I think you and your team are doing something that's really special. It's community focused. It's centered around the community, similar to ours. And you really do have I would say, a unique marketing strategy. I think going back how I got involved into the project, I own assets in Fluff World, and a fellow Fluff World NFT member invited me, I think through Twitter. And it just felt exclusive and special. And then from there, I'm listening to the Brandverse AMAs, the Ask Me Anythings. I earned some POAPs, which we're going to talk to more about in a few. But I just think you're doing something really cool. So again, thank you for being on. Maybe just to back up and level set, Kareem, I think there's a fair amount of folks who are on today who are new to the space. They're not crypto native. Web3 is a whole new world for them, and maybe they haven't even purchased an NFT at this point, right? So again, backing up, you're talking to somebody who's never purchased an NFT before. How do you sort of explain the concept to them? What do you typically tell them to help it make sense?
Yeah, so very good question. I mean, NFTs are non-fungible tokens. They are unique. They represent unique assets on a impermutable ledger, which is the blockchain. So to put that context into a much visual representation, for the first time kind of in human history, we have a way to validate authenticity in the digital world. So we can actually validate someone owns an authentic asset. And once we put that, like take a step back and look at the macro, and where the spike happened with that $69 million Beeple sale in January 2021, then the Bored Apes released, and then the media got like most of the sugar there, because, you know, when you put cartoon apes on mainstream media selling for $500,000, you get everyone's attention. But I think what we really need to clarify is the potential of consumer blockchain technology. So the fact that this industry is still at its infant phase and the use cases are phenomenal. If you imagine anything that needs authentic or a proof of authenticity, or actually to be backed by something that shows that it's legit, that it's true, you can go like on a lot of different use cases. For example, the insurance industry, the real estate industry, music, of course, art, collectibles, and all of that we already see around us. But what makes me really, really bullish about the future of NFTs is the institutional use cases that haven't exactly been very much tapped into. And this will obviously increase by time, and the people who will help onboard these institutions will also like develop new business models going on there. So it's kind of like the next wave of the internet. And what makes it sometimes difficult for people to comprehend, for the people specifically who lived with the internet, so they didn't witness the two eras, it's the most difficult to imagine, because I mean, I don't remember like my awake life, like my mature life without the internet. So for me, imagining a new concept, I'm not talking about myself personally because I'm in this space, but for someone who didn't see the shift between what it felt like before the internet and after the internet, I mean, it's difficult to imagine what's gonna be next now as well.
That's a great answer. So I just for the audience listening today, I did have an interview with Kareem maybe 2 months ago, maybe more than that. But I wrote a piece that you could find at VanEck.com in the insights section. Go to digital assets. It's called Flex in the Metaverse with Digital Wearables. And I do recommend reading that. And obviously, Kareem just gave us a nice understanding of what Brandverse is. But I know, JP, you've got a video queued up, right? Is that ready to go?
We're
Maybe we
ready.
could share that.
We're
Awesome.
ready. I'm not going to share it for you guys, so you're not going to see it, but I'm sharing it live. So, and you guys won't be able to hear it, but it's happening.
Fair enough. We've seen it.
All right, there you go. All right, it started.
What we are doing is we're building the brand with the community from the NFT space and then taking it to the physical. So we're flipping the branding model. We started with a watch collection. Now, if you can put that watch inside the metaverse on your 3D avatar, that is your extension of your digital identity, and then we ship it to you as a physical product, it hits different. This is what phase one looks like. We wanted to have ambassadors. We needed our brand to have a name and a logo. Now, who do we pick as ambassadors? We needed to have people not only that who liked our project, but wanted the project. So we developed a POAP system. What is POAP? Proof of Attendance Protocol. These are badges on chain. Participation, attendance can actually be linked with something more valuable, and this is how we used it. We had virtual events, and every event we were giving POAPs. If people collected X amount of POAP, they can go claim this token. Now, this token is an NFT. Its supply is 111, and what it gives you is voting rights. You decide on the future development of the brands. You also learn branding, you engage with like-minded people, you participate in the creation, and you get access to future wearable drops. Brandverse is gonna release multiple wearable collections. This will also be up for vote for the community, like what type of physical and digital wearable would you like? We know that the biggest brands in the world weren't born in a day, in a year. And we really think that if you put a collective power of creative people inside a certain environment, you will get a better end result than you, the marketer, sitting by yourself and launching a brand. Hopefully, Brandverse will redefine how brands are built in a Web3 environment.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot going on in that video. That's really cool. So
It's well done. Well done.
really well done video. So yeah, I mean, like that immediate, we've got like what we're supposed, like that video, like you said, that had a couple key points that really stuck out to me. It feels like it's the next level to me. I say that phrase a lot, like things are on the next level. That video and kind of the project that we're talking about feels next level to me. And one of the things I just kind of immediately ask, and I know the first thing is kind of like a watch. So like, and I'm going off script here, sorry. Like, what? Tell me about, like, I get, like there's a watch, you're designing it, you get it, then your NFT gets to wear it. Just walk me through high level what that means and why it's important.
So when the idea came, when the idea came alive, like, hey, let's do wearables and link them with physical products. So let's launch a wearable brand. And then like a week later, I took a step back and I called Gabriele. I'm like, but why do we need to launch a brand ourselves and not put it in the hands of the community so we can showcase our designs and gather community sentiment and see how people are, whether liking it, not liking it, see how we can iterate, adjust on that, take live feedback while we build that brand. So we focused from the start as like the whole concept of the metaverse and the buzzword circling around it, which is kind of like under construction right now. And no one really knows how the metaverse will look like. For me, it's going to be the combination of all digital environments that we kind of have experiences in. So our job as a company that builds wearables is to make these digital assets function in multiple of those different environments. So from day one, we wanted to focus on creating a high quality wearable that is in fact interoperable. So we have the capability to extract our assets to be compatible on whatever gaming engine we're talking about. So whether that's Unity, that's Unreal. So we wanted to build something with like high level of interoperability from the get-go. So we went on to design these 3D assets. The physical complement that will come with it is obviously not a one-to-one, because then it will be a boring NFT if it's just a normal watch put in a digital format. We wanted to have some elements that cannot exist in the physical world due to impracticality or infeasibility or something like that. But so we took a step back in the design process and we created what we call watch classes. So we have 14 different watch classes that will produce 2,500 NFTs. These 14 different watch classes, each one of them is different textures, materials, even a different story and lore behind them, where they originated from. And in the physical world, we will match the physical product to the watch class. So we have 14 different physical watches to be basically matching the theme of that NFT watch. We have a class called Veteran, for example, which is very much military and that kind of elements inside of it. And the physical one will resemble those elements. And this is how we tackled this problem, basically.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to get back on script here.
Well, Kareem, I want to add one more thing since I'm allowed to go off script as well. So I had a colleague ask me, and by the way, I was on the 4 a.m. Friday AMA last week, but it was like the tail end, and so I don't know if you addressed this, but we're going to have the mint of the watch, the digital wearable, and then I remember there was some talk about, do you need to burn that NFT in order to get the physical watch, or will you basically get both?
Yeah, so your NFT gives you access to the physical product. So you get one NFT, which is the wearable itself. So what we had at first, the initial idea was the following. You get the NFT 3 to 5 weeks after the mint, when production is almost done, because we already started producing. We wanted to airdrop our holders another NFT, which is called a physical redeem token. And that way, if you wish to get or receive the physical product, you go on our website, burn it, put your shipping details and have it shipped to you. If not, we actually gave you additional value, which is another NFT that you can sell on secondary market if someone else is interested in getting the physical product by itself. After moving forward with our project, we figured that this might not be the most ideal use case, considering we are a Web3 native company. We wanted the experience of handling and getting your physical product to also be Web3 native method. Considering I am under a lot of NDAs right now, I cannot disclose really how that redemption will happen, but I can assure you one thing really, for sure. Summer is going to be huge. It's going to be the summer of fidgeters, and you can do with that information whatever you please.
That's cool.
That is cool. Okay, back to the script here. Why don't you just walk us through, because we've had a couple planning calls, we've talked a couple times, so I get a little bit of a sense of where you're coming from, but where are you coming from? How did this happen? I think you did a little bit of this in your intro, but like, are you a computer programmer by heart? Are you a marketer by who are you from a background perspective?
Absolutely. So I'm a marketer by heart. So I've done my bachelor's is in digital marketing and as well as my master's. So I came to Berlin in 2019 for a master's in digital marketing. A little under a year later, I joined an early phase Silicon Valley startup, which was the software startup I was telling you about, where I had the chance to meet Gabriele, which is my current co-founder. And over there, we built, and we were part of the original team that helped the startup go to 30 employees within 14 months. We eventually the startup ended up closing a 1.2 million pre-seed round. And then it was kind of time for me and Gabriele to move to another thing. And by that time, I've already been like dabbling in the crypto and NFT space for a while now. So we entered the wearable scene, combining our efforts with Ivan and Stefano, who are both like extremely talented designers. So Ivan brings in the creative side with previous experience in Fendi, Versace, Moncler, and major fashion conglomerates in Milan. And he's like very into the fashion scene. And Stefano on the other side brings in the procedural 3D modeling side. So he's the guy responsible for all the structure that we created to to actually produce these wearables and make them interoperable. So we are using one of the fastest offline rendering softwares, which is Houdini plus Redshift, to actually produce these 3D assets fully rigged, and allowing us to extract and automate all these assets to whatever collection that is 3D rigged. So we can do that at scale automatically. My last experience before doing that was product owner. So I was the product owner at the SaaS that I was working at, and eventually I ended up here.
That's great. I think you just answered. I think you answered two questions in one, right? You told us about your team, how you came together, with some great background. So I appreciate all the color. Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, maybe just to add. So like, Brandverse 2 to 3 years out, what's sort of the vision that you and your team have in place? How many products have you launched? What barriers are you breaking through? Talk to us about some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Brandverse's mission is obviously we are a hub for Web3 native brands. So we want to empower brand creators, even brands, marketers, designers, to build and own the next generation of wearable brands, those wearable brands that come with a physical counterpart or not. So considering that the community is the beating heart of our orchestra, and they are actually the foundation that helped us to get to where we are, we will very much focus how we're going to proceed, keeping in mind the OG community that helped us be where we are. Considering the name, which is Brandverse, which is a very broad name, and the fact that we are releasing our first community-generated wearable, we are also in the process of opening gates to other Web2 brands or even physical brands that can enter through the Brandverse portal. And the benefit, obviously, from end-to-end solutions, plus the fact where they can drop their collections on the Brandverse platform. I am, on one side, I have a huge vision for Brandverse, where it's going to be a hub for brands that want to first engage their community with the creative process, but also produce high quality 3D wearables that can benefit from our technology. On one hand, this is the vision in 2 to 3 years out, but on another hand, I'm a firm believer in just do it rather than say it. So if you can see a lot of my communication on AMAs or even in the Discord, well, we don't usually just overhype stuff, because I'm like the antidote of that. I don't like it. So just what's happening is you're going to see it. We're going to let the work do the talking. And when we put our heads down, we can get stuff done, basically.
Cool. So go ahead, JK.
Okay, so chat's going nuts. I got a good question. From chat, and I think we're kind of getting these kind of questions. So I get a question from U3K. And first of all, I'm going to shout out Ken J. Mart Agudo. You're going nuts in chat. There's your shout out. Thank you for watching. Very much appreciated. But crypto's in a recession. Does that change your plans? Are you shifting course, in light of what we've seen over the last week or two or a month?
To tell you the truth, it would be a lie to say that we didn't think about it. Obviously, any project in Web3 right now is kind of shaken, but what I know for sure is bear markets give rise to true builders and the dopest projects as well, because the people who don't leave and continue building are the people who are going to stay for the long run. From my side, high conviction in the space. I'm not here for a couple of months. We decided to we went all in to co-found Brandverse. We're not here to drop a collection. Our target when we were drawing the milestones in the company, the mint itself is not the ultimate goal. The mint is part of the milestones we need to hit. We need to hit them anyways. This is roadmap activation points. We're gonna do this, then do that, then do that. So yes, it might impact the plans in terms of date and time of the drop, because at one point is having the product ready, but it's also another point to have the market ready to take a new product. So we're very aware of this, and we're what's the word? Threading with care. So let's see how that works. But obviously, it's not just crypto that is red. Today, I was on the phone with my dad, and he was like, "Did you see oil prices?" I'm like, "Dad, I don't care about oil, but okay." He's like, I'm like, Dad, you should see my crypto portfolio. And he's like, are you impacted? I'm like, Dad, just don't get me started, you know?
You know, you
Oh,
bring up a good point. There are a lot of projects out there that just focus on that first mint, which just comes across like a money grab, and there's just no plan of attack for what follows. So, I don't know. For those who are sort of doing their own due diligence on is this project real, gonna make it or not, I mean, that's one warning sign that I would pay attention to. Um, Kareem, you know, folks new to the space, I think they often struggle with how NFTs are able to bridge in real life with the metaverse. Your project's doing this, but so often they think of NFTs as like art and maybe bad art sometimes, right? But as art only. And so it obviously it's a prime use case. There are some great artists, so I'm not knocking that. But what are some of these other prime use cases? I mean, you talked to them up front a little bit, but what are some that you could share that can kind of help people make sense of what's going on that they could wrap their heads around to help them kind of understand the space a bit better?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, like art was the one that got the attention of mainstream media because of the record sale of people. But what people tend to not look at is mainstream saw $69 million sale of art. They didn't think, okay, this guy was doing this for like it was this 5,000 days. Like it was as if Picasso had a way to validate his art on a blockchain and then sell it. It will sell for that much money. Imagine when art collectors used to invite people to their houses to show them their collection. So usually you'd go like, hey, look at this piece of art that I bought for $1 million, and you're actually showing it off to 20, 25, 30 people in your house. Now you've got the whole world to see it in your wallet. So the flex uh, thing is on steroids with NFTs. The use cases of anything being authentic, and we require a database to validate that these assets are in fact true. We need a lot of this. Like if you think about driving license, if you think about real estate, like the purchase of land or property or any of that stuff. If you think about war zones, the places that were impacted by war. Personally, I come from the Middle East, so I've seen a fair share of not the cool stuff. So if you think about what happened in Syria in 2011, for example, if you own the house there that doesn't exist now because it's purely demolished, and then you go there and say, hey, this is my document that shows I had a house there, and someone from the government would go like, oh, we're not using these documents anymore. Didn't you get the memo? We updated it. Your house is like not there anymore. Who gives you your right? So once the insurance and the real estate and the also governmental agencies wake up to the use cases and start using it, that's where I feel NFTs are going to be integrated more in our society. But the mega mainstream moment will be when you don't know that you're interacting with the underlying technology. So, for example, I don't think about the internet when ordering an Uber. So once you hit that, that's mainstream. But we're still.
one of the examples I use because we talk to clients and talk about NFTs or crypto or whatever, and one of the things I use as an example of a project or an NFT thing where it's not about the crypto is Top Shot, and Top Shot had a crazy 2021, yeah, like February to April 2021, everybody was doing Top Shot, and if you do Top Shots on Flow, you're not doing it's not you sign up with your credit card, you put your name and email. It is blockchain, but it's Flow, love them or hate them, whatever. I don't care about that. I'm just saying it was an example of a project that really got big, and people were excited about it, and you didn't. It wasn't like, oh, I'm doing crypto. You know what I mean? That's one thing I always kind of bring up for that. All right, your guys' faces just went.
NBA Top Shot like is really cool because like apart from the fact that Dapper Labs might be one of the biggest companies that do NFTs in the space, they've been live for a while now. They went with a different model. Instead of actually launching something and then waiting for the trading volume to happen on it, they wanted to launch a lot of things and then basically even if the asset itself is like $10, $15, 20, 30, 100, there is a lot of trading volume there. So needing a blockchain with low transactional fees was a must to achieve that vision. But Dapper, like we all learn from them. I mean, respect.
Yeah, that's how I feel about them too. And they do get that. I saw somebody say decentralized. You know, so it's not maybe not as decentralized, whatever, but it made a big hit. And I think that a lot of Web3 projects and kind of groups could probably learn something from that, even, you know, while keeping some of the decentralized characteristics or whatever people like to take pot shots at Dapper about. Okay.
I think that's in their roadmap from what I've heard, which would be a win if they could figure that out. Sorry, I got knocked off from Skype. Unless you kicked me, JP. That's
no,
fine.
I don't. Well, yeah.
Hey, let's maybe shift gears for a second to education. Let's discuss POAPs, right? It's a really interesting strategy to get engagement for our community. Just a heads up, this is something that we're definitely entertaining and actively pursuing. So keep an eye out for that. But Kareem, can you talk to what these are, how they work, why you chose them?
Absolutely. So I've been in a lot of Discords, a lot of NFT projects, a lot of communities, and it became very hectic to catch up with all of them, and B, the requirements to get on that access list or private sale for those projects became day and day more and more impossible, because the harder the project makes it, then basically the higher they expect the price to be for the flipper on the secondary market, because there's a lot of people who couldn't get on the wait list because of the tough requirements. I immediately hated all of that, and what made me hate it even more when I discovered that people were actually hiring people off of Fiverr to grind in Discord and then get them their whitelist, and then they gain like pennies on the dollar for it. So I was like, okay, hell no, we're not going to use any of those grinding mechanics. I don't need to actually have people 25 hours a day in the Discord to validate that they actually want the project. We need another way. And POAPs, for those our listeners who are not very familiar with them, are POAP. It stands for Proof of Attendance Protocol. It's a little tiny badge on chain. It's their logo, their like slogan is the bookmarks of your life. So you basically, let's say someone hosts an event that is virtual or physical, and the organizer of the event issues a POAP for the attendees. So now you have this little tiny badge that you put in your wallet. It costs nothing to issue and nothing to claim, because it's not on Ethereum, it's on XDAI chain. And this allows a certain bond with the creator, the issuer, and the community member, because you have this tiny little badge of that highlights the memory of this event. After that event happens 2 to 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out, whatever, a year, two, that event organizer can reward those community members who have this this badge or this POAP in their wallet. What we did specifically at Brandverse is we needed people to not only be interested in our project, but want the project. So they want to take part in brand creation, because the project required actual involvement. Like, it didn't just, you can sit there and mint and just like wait for the founders to do something. The community must interact, must submit some logos, must submit some designs and do that kind of stuff. So if you wanted that, we needed to know, okay, who are the people actually interested? So each virtual event we hosted, we gave away POAP. And after 7 POAPs, we gave something that is the Brandverse Ambassador token, which is what's rotating behind you, Matthew. It's basically an NFT. There's 111 out of it, and what it gives you is voting rights on the future development of the brand, whether that is the name, the logo, and other elements that we will include further in our roadmap. And also it gives you one free NFT wearable because of your participation, because you gave us your time. We found a way that, okay, this is a cool way to tokenize these people's time and give them value. And this is how we at Brandverse want to give you one free wearable, because you participated and you are actually an ambassador with us. So I think in this way you reward the OGs, you give them a voice as well, and you get your true 100 fans. And if you make those 100 extremely satisfied, I mean, the rest is gonna build up. Even if it's slow, it's at least organic, it's non-shill, it's people who are genuinely interested, and This is what I liked about it, to be honest.
Yeah, and you gave us your 3-year vision. Mine is to have my entire wardrobe created by Brandverse, right? Everything I wear is on my fluff or my party bear. That would be great.
Yeah.
All right, so I think there is a POAP for listening to this show today. You want to pull that up, JP?
Yeah, so we'll pull up the POAP, and you can walk through the mechanics of it if you'd like, Matt.
So you're going to pull up the QR code. I don't see it yet on my end, but
It's up.
Okay, so go ahead and use your POAP app to scan it. Can they scan it any other way, Kareem, or do you have to have the POAP app?
So once you scan it with your phone, with your normal camera, it redirects you to a web page, and then you claim the POAP to your app.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
we might have some people, I know maybe there's some people from VanEck or just joined who don't have a crypto Ethereum wallet, and you're going to need that to claim this, right? So if you're here and you've never bought an NFT and you've never have any Ethereum in your wallet, this is the way. So what you can do is just scan this with your phone. It's going to give you a link. Go to the link and it's going to say, give me your Ethereum address. You can create an Ethereum address very quickly. And if you need help with that, go to the VanEck digital assets page or the NFT community page. There's a step-by-step instruction on how to download a wallet, your first wallet. So I'll highly encourage everybody to follow the link, claim your POAP. I got mine before the show started, first mover advantage. So very
There's
happy.
no excuses. This is your chance to get one, right?
This is your chance.
It runs out. So
because NFTs, look, I mean, you may have to spend money. You have to spend money on the NFT. You have to spend money on gas, whatever. This is a way for you to get something that's made. I kind of think of this as an NFT light, right? This is a Bud Light version for So it's really cool. And this is just the preview, right? This is just the sign up image. The actual NFT or the actual POAP is really, really well done, and really thank you for doing that. That's really awesome, Kareem.
It's Ivan, the creative director who put that together. I'm just the messenger.
So it says we're getting some people saying it's invalid. We just tested this before. So what you can do if it's not working, if you take a screen grab of this on your computer or whatever, and then how long is it going to stay open for? How long are we going to allow people to claim this?
It's just Rio that said it's invalid. I think Rio has to fix some tech issues from her side. Other people were able to claim.
Yeah. So
in my experience with it was I was given a URL when I took it with my phone, and then I clicked on that and it took me to the page to paste in my address. So if that's an option, click on the URL.
When I tried it before too, it worked with my regular camera phone. It did not work with my QR scanner in my Coinbase wallet. So you just use your regular phone camera, put it up to it, and it should click. What if you're on mobile and you can't scan? Okay, a lot of Q&A in the chat right now. Take a screen grab of it on your phone, and Google is your friend because it's working. Okay, guys, we're gonna drop the POAP. Thank you, guys. That was a lot of fun. First POAP drop for us. Very exciting stuff. Very cool. Thank you, Kareem, for setting that up, and that's really cool. Thank you very much.
Anytime, of course, absolutely. Who doesn't love POAPs? I mean, I want to collect all of them if I can.
Exactly. Okay, cool. So where are we? Let's see here. When something like that, this POAP that we just showed, that was a collab, right? Like we had an idea, and VanEck, we're doing this with you, and we collab real quick. I would kind of categorize it as off the cuff. Fast action, get it done, right? Not a lot of back and forth. That's a great collab for me. So, and I know that collaborations are important to you. So maybe you can talk about, why collaborations are important and what you think about them and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Great question, JP. So thank you for asking that. So I feel like the whole space of Web3 is built to be a collaborative space because from one side, you've got other projects that have more advanced stuff than you, or like the vice versa. And from another side is the fact that other projects complement what you are offering. So in our case, for example, because we're not a PFP project, we are wearables. eventually, if this metaverse develops into the immersive experiences that we want it to be, whether that is a P2E game, a fashion show, a virtual land environment, all of those different environments where your digital self can transcend and go there and interact, whether it's fashion or anything else, we need those collabs. We need those wearables to be um, integrated in those ecosystems. So whether it's P2E games that can take the watch and plug it in the game and give it in-game utility, that's definitely people we are collabing with. Whether it's meta world environments where there's virtual land like Network or like Decentraland or any of those sandbox, that's also a way for us to display also to give those interactive experiences. And of course, the 3D rigged avatars that can be the mannequin for those wearables, so you can actually dress up your avatar. But a lot of this stuff is obviously under construction, and what we strive to achieve is, first of all, more important than the collab is the people behind that collab. So if you establish a solid relationship with those companies from such an early phase as well, considering how infant the space is, you can guarantee that if you build together, you will build a way better product offering to your community than if you build in siloed environments. So this is for me really, really important, and more than just like yeah, we're doing a partnership with those or this, like actually working together with both teams.
Cool. So, couple things. We have a couple giveaways today. And the first one, Kareem, is to you. We got these really nifty Bitcoin socks that just came in, and we're going to send you a pair. So don't worry, this isn't the surprise I was going to tell you about next week, but this is pretty big. So I'll get your information. But we are going to give away 2 VanEck community NFTs. And one of the ways that we're going to do that is through a trivia question, JP, that I think you're going to put out there for the community to comment on.
Yeah, so what we're going to do, you know, our founder and CEO, Jan VanEck, is a big history buff. He loves history. And he is also a guy, I've experienced it firsthand, who loves to ask questions, pop quizzes, factoids. He's a big factoid guy. So I'm going to ask a question, and then the first person who answers it in the chat correctly is going to win one of the VanEck community NFTs. So I know everybody's focused still on the POAP in the chat, but I want everybody to bring up your Wikipedia page on the side so you can, you know, start Googling or whatever. But here's the question, and the first person to put it in the chat wins. All right, ready? And I don't have to finish the question either. If you know the answer, if you put it in right now before I even started, you win somehow. All right, here we go. Here we go. Which founding father was an active Freemason who acted as ambassador to France from 1776 to 1785 before returning home to his native home in Philadelphia? I mean, that is...
This should be a layup, right?
This should be very easy for anybody, you know.
I know it.
Kareem knows it.
I'm not gonna say it though.
Okay, I'm not getting it. Hamilton is not that's no. We got 2. There we go. Maddie 0716.
All right.
Maddie
we got
0716. Yeah.
What I'd like you to do for our winner is email us VanEck it's NFT@vaneck.com. That's the email address. So put your username in the email so we know it's you.
Yeah, like screen grab your profile when you're signing.
Yeah, that would be great.
Like, something like that.
We get it to the right person.
But Maddie 0716, well done. Thank you for participating. And that was a lot of fun. Hopefully we made Jan happy on that one.
And then you know, we do have the other prize, which so again, I was on that 4 a.m. call last week, and I think there were a lot of people disappointed that there wasn't a POAP. So to sort of make it up to them, we've given Kareem and his team one NFT to raffle off, I guess, in a couple days. Whoever has the POAP. I mean, maybe you could talk about that for a moment, Kareem, how you might do that.
Absolutely. So whoever collected the POAP today with the QR code, and yeah, whoever, basically, for people who collected the POAP, we will host a raffle in our Discord either Sunday or Monday, depending on when we finalize the stuff. And the winner of that raffle, we will get the VanEck community NFT.
Yeah, just to be clear, this is not VanEck doing. This is, we've gifted Kareem the NFT. He's holding a raffle, so we don't have anything to do with that.
And I do think a requirement is you need to be in the Brandverse Discord, right? So join the community, learn and participate, and that should be a good thing for you.
Yeah. Well, we gotta. Okay, I'm gonna throw up the QR code again because I feel like people. So get ready, everybody. Get your phone out or whatever you gotta do. Screen grab it. I mean, that's one thing you can do. Oh, I dropped it. Hold on a second. All right, I'm bringing it up, everybody. Get ready. So we're giving all of you stragglers and slackers another shot. Here it is. Uh-oh, that's my desktop. You don't want to see that. Very sensitive information on there. There you go, guys. So I'll leave it up there for. There's no POAPs left. That's what they said. You know.
So, do we want to go ahead, Kareem? Did you have something?
We're checking with the team if the limit has been reached or not. So.
I will say that if you missed this one, there's 100. It was a pretty active chat. I'm sure we had 100 signups or so, and I would anticipate and imagine that we will be doing things like this, going forward. So just kind of stay tuned. This isn't the only one you'll ever get, but it was fun while it lasted. So thank you, Kareem, once again for setting that up. I looked through the chat questions. We were gonna go do some questions. I looked through them. Lots of I don't know. I don't see any good questions. If anybody's got any questions right now, if you want to get Kareem to answer, or anything's coming to your mind. Otherwise, we're going to transition to the next phase of this live stream, which is going to be the VanEck community NFT leak, right? So we're going to show you. We'll talk about the launch went great, tons of interest. I want to re-emphasize that we've got a roadmap. We're trying to bring in everybody who signed up because I know that a lot of people want this, right? Mm-hmm. What else is what else is the key highlight here besides the actual leak here, Matt?
I want to talk about just some of kind of what's transpired this week. Just under the guise of being transparent with everyone. Mm-hmm. I think most everyone here at least knows that we're doing something that's never been done before. And what I mean by that is it's a global asset manager, a regulated U.S. financial services firm that has launched the first NFT, right? And so along with that innovation comes some, legal and compliance guardrails that we sort of have to navigate. So I'm going to bring this up now because it goes back to the winners of our NFTs. Please do not sell or buy or list any of our NFTs, right? I mean, this is not something that we want to have deemed a security, right? We want to keep everybody, following the rules, and hopefully you have no reason to, because the experience and the opportunities are worth more than a couple ETH or whatever, right? So a couple things had happened. First, we issued the free airdrop, right? And that went to anybody that put in their Ethereum wallet address. And everything kind of was great at that point. We did 2 waves, roughly 365 NFTs went out. But then something happened that created a lot of confusion. On Saturday, JP and I had to work quite a bit. OpenSea scraped the metadata and created a default collection on OpenSea, right, for VanEck. And so we needed to sort of rush and get some language out there about not transacting with these tokens. But then naturally the scammers come out. They start creating copycat, collections, and which is a concern, right? We definitely want to protect everybody participating in this project. So we report them as suspicious. they report us as suspicious. So it caused our collection to go offline with OpenSea. Well, that opens up a can of worms where many of our community members reached out and said, "Hey, where'd our NFT go?" As if we took it away. We didn't, right? So just remember, your NFTs. I'm gonna fix my camera for 1 second. Just remember that the NFTs are on the Ethereum blockchain. You can't destroy them. Rainbow.me, which is a great resource for putting in your public address to see what assets or maybe what other assets people have. Their API gets pulled from OpenSea, so it didn't show there either. So there was a lot of concern. So long story short, we're working with OpenSea to basically figure out a way to prove that our collection is authentic, but while also not supporting a secondary marketplace. So just, if you can, bear with us. Again, it's something that's new. We're sort of figuring out together. So it is a community project. So listen, we have some smart members in our community. JP and I spoke to someone on Friday actually about some just really great ideas for things that we could do. We want to hear them, right? So don't be shy about about having a voice. Right now we have the VanEck I'm sorry, gee, I said it again. The NFT@vaneck.com email address. We have the Twitter address or the Twitter handle, and we are going to introduce another way once the reveal happens for everybody to communicate with us. But for right now, there is no Discord. There may be a Telegram down the road, right? But again, we're trying to figure this out in a way that makes all parties happy. So more to come. So maybe that out of the way. Go ahead.
Let me just underscore something that you said, just for anybody who's listening, whose hairs are sticking up on the back of their neck. We're not supporting an OpenSea page. We did not create an OpenSea page.
Right.
They have scraping APIs that, basically what happened is a couple of wallets that we sent the NFT to were connected to OpenSea. They saw those come in, they scan automatically, and it gets created. Without anything that we're doing, it gets created completely on their end because this thing exists on the blockchain, right? So we're learning in real time. We're collaborating with, our legal compliance and marketing teams to make sure that everybody's having a good time and playing by the rules and having fun. But these are not for sale. If you sell them, you will be banned. If you buy one, it will be worthless, or it's already worthless, but it will be worthless as a community token because that NFT will lose any and all rights to doing a lot of the stuff that we've got planned. So do not buy, do not sell, do not list, do not mess around in this space. All right,
let's get to the good stuff.
Let's do it. Okay. So we made this little document here. Let's see here. Zoom in here so it gets a little better view. You guys can see my COD in the background.
Yeah, maybe you're doing that, JP. So the reveal of the avatar of the PFP is going to take place the week of May 27th. Maybe next week, we're going to share the second sort of promotional video that comes along with that reveal. And within that video is a portion that sort of shows who Hammy's friends are, who's helping him on these missions. And so that would be the first image. I'll wait till JP pulls it up. Let's see.
It's pulled up, sorry.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Yeah, it's pulled up. So this is the first image, which again, 3 videos. There's a narrative here. We're releasing things along this narrative video. So, Cooper. So this scene right here is coming from the end of the second video where Hammy is kind of building a team. Like it's an 80s action movie, right? He's building a team of superhero, Halo dudes or whatever. And this is kind of like, so these characters are going to be what the rare class is for the NFT. This is what they're going to look like. So, again, there's tiers, right? So the 3 tiers are common, rare, and legendary. There's, let's just say, I'm eyeballing here, spitballing here, 700 commons, 200 something rares, and then about 20 or so super rare or legendary. So this is just a little, we're purposely being a little vague. So Matt, I brought up the let me share my screen with you guys so you guys can see what's going on.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hold on. share screen. Okay, leaks. Oh, here we go. So can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, this is what a common would look like. Maybe the top of his head. You can see he's got little things in his eyes. I don't know what that symbol is, but it's something. Here's another little mashup of a bunch of the kind of little different features. One thing I want to emphasize here is that these are not fully rendered. This is like a rough draft. The final version of what this thing looks like, it looks like AAA game studio, very high quality, really cool art. And you can see, you may be able to see some bling here. We got a little bling going here. You get a VIP lanyard right here. And all of those little items, all those little traits are going to be tied back to a specific utility that the owner, the person who owns the NFT is going to have, right? So if you own, or if your guy is doing X, you get to do Y. If your guy has this, then maybe you get opportunity to do that. So it's very well thought out, and it's not just slapdash, right? Very well thought out, and I would credit Matt Bartlett for that,
Thanks, JP. Yeah, I think so we're using Unreal Engine 5, Kareem. You brought them up earlier. These avatars there's movement, there's animation, there's music. When they move, the reflection of the environment around them shows up on their I don't know, armor. I mean, I don't know what we would call it, but it's really cool. So again, we don't want to give too much. Maybe go ahead.
First, you're getting me full FOMO on the NFTs, so I really want one. And second is, I think they'd look dope with the watch as well. They're Unreal Engine, I mean.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and we've shown it. The company Numomo, this guy I don't know how to pronounce his name, Rolf Hofer. He came up with some really, really cool ideas later in the design that I think make this a very unique and I don't want to say ironic, but it's self-aware, right? And some of the choices that were made on a design level are really going to resonate with people who are in the NFT space. And it's you're going to say what, and so that's what's cool about it.
Yeah. Nice. And all right, let's show the historic one of ones, JP.
Yeah. So the way so these are the 20 of 20, right? So again, going back to this idea that Jan is we love history. There's a great history series that we did. Was that summer of 2020? I think we did the history series. Mm-hmm. So what we've done is we've gone through and we've kind of identified people in history. Hamilton's one of them, who are thought leaders, revolutionaries, innovators, forces for good, and scientists. There's so many people who have lived in the world who have really had a huge impact on the world and had a positive impact on people. So these NFTs are going to be reflections or avatars of these one-of-ones. So if you get the one-of-one, there's like the commons and the rares, there's multiple versions of it. If you get the one-of-one, that's it, and those are going to come with their own unique traits, or maybe yeah. So anyway, yeah, very exciting, very cool. Happy to
yeah, and for those curious, the reveal week of the 27th, sometime in mid-June, we'll have a third video tied to utility. You'll get to figure out what are some of the what's some of the base utility that comes with your PFP. And anyway, we don't want to give away too much. You want to move to lightning round for Kareem?
Yeah, okay, lightning round. So yeah, we got about 2-3 minutes left. Kareem, I warned you lightning round. I'm gonna actually give you an easy one, and when I say easy, it's because it's the same one I asked Matt for our first show.
Okay.
And the question is, and I kind of get the same kind of vibe from you. Is like, look, you seem like a pretty self-directed, focused guy that knows what that knows what you want to do, knows what you want to get out of life. And so I would just say, at the beginning of the year in 2022, what were your goals, if you want to talk about them? And then how are you doing? So it's almost June, right? We're halfway through almost. How you doing on your goals, and what were they, if you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. The goal was to build a startup, and that was one of the goals that we achieved. the goals, another goal was to get to 10 people by Q1. That was another one achieved. And I think the most important goal that I still didn't achieve is taking some time for myself, and that is health and family, which I've neglected for a while now. So, so yeah, I need to focus more on my health a little bit.
I had the same answer, and he called me a middle-aged dad last time. I mean, that's.
I called you an overweight middle-aged dad.
Yeah, thank you.
And then Matt had some of the same kind of goals, so that's cool. The other one of the
you love your work, you know. It's like you wanna dive in, and it's meaningful to you, and it's tough to break away, but you got to find time to do that.
The other thing that we kind of talked about briefly, one of the test videos, I asked Matt this question. I think I would like to hear this from you. Like, what is it? And we talked a little bit about rugs earlier. What's your biggest burn that you've had in the space? Yeah, like what's something you're like, I think this is going to be great, and then you're like, 6 months later, you're like, woo, what was I thinking, right? Like, if you're comfortable sharing that kind of thing, I would love to hear it personally.
Yeah, I mean, I've been like my biggest mistake, I think, in the NFT space was selling the ape really early. It was my first NFT, but well, you gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes this thing happens, and but I'm also very thankful for it and grateful because I think my career would have taken a totally opposite route if I still own it. I would have been a totally different place right now. So one of the biggest, because I went down the NFT rabbit hole, minting, flipping, buying, a lot of this stuff. So obviously when you do a 3x on a project or a 5x or whatever, and then you think you got it figured out, and then you go take all that money you made and put it in another project, and then it vanishes. And I mean, you win some, you lose some. Some of the projects that I wish I exited earlier, I didn't take the gains that I should have. But also one of my biggest conviction plays is Fluff World, so everything related to non-fungible labs. Simply because I'm a very believer in the team, a huge believer. So when I see like they have full-time employees working on this, the team is very much immersed in the space. They're very good at what they do. I mean, sooner or later, this thing is gonna pop out, and yeah. So non-fungible labs for sure. Anything that comes out of that ecosystem is something that has my conviction.
Awesome. I think that's a wrap. I think this is a great call.
Yeah, this is really great. Thank you so much, Kareem.
Yeah,
this is
absolutely. It was a pleasure, and thank you so much for the invite. I really hope the VanEck community NFT sets the goals and whatever you guys plan for it. And obviously, it's a huge step for VanEck into the NFT world. I can imagine how were the internal dynamics in the company were approaching that project. So it must have been really exciting. And another thing I would like to add on that note is whatever thing you would like to share, and that is of course like offline, Matthew or JP, if you want to run stuff by us or even POAP related stuff, anything, like just feel free to reach out. I'm always available.
Thank you very much. Awesome.
Matt, it's great to see you. Hope you have a great weekend. Kareem.
You too.
Any final thought? We need final thoughts, like Jerry Springer final thoughts.
I have one, and then I'll let Kareem go. We asked him, how do you disconnect last week? And he said 1 hour of screen time on, I don't know if it was Saturday or whatever. I guess I'd like to know if that happened, but I guess I'd issue that challenge to anyone listening right now, because that is a tough one.
So usually, okay, so here's how my week goes. I start on Sunday. Sunday is I plan what's gonna happen in the week, and then Monday is officially work day at the company. So then we go full throttle, 13 a day, 12 to 14 a day until Friday. Friday I disconnect after 9 p.m. And Saturday I promise myself usually to not handle any devices for more than 1 hour. Sometimes I fail at it, sometimes not. But when I did that on last month, or the month before last month, Yuga Labs acquired like Meebits and Punks, and I was like, I just missed a day. Like I just needed 1 day off, you know. And I come to Twitter next day, I'm like, people going crazy, like, wow, you own the IP for your Punk now, and yeah. So sometimes you can't sleep in this space, and which makes it really toxic sometimes because communities expect delivery within 2 weeks, and like good quality product needs time to build as well. So it's tough to manage expectations. And I think that is on a final thought, JP, and I'll let you wrap it up. When the people are actually demanding, or not demanding, but like when the community ask is always, okay, what's next, what's next, what's next? I think at some point or another, this incentivizes some projects or project founders to over-promise stuff just to like calm the fire of the community and like, okay, we're doing this for you, although it's not true. But then the negative side of this is that it's gonna be really worse than just telling them, hey, wait, we're working on it, instead of like actually over-promising stuff that's not gonna be delivered in 3 weeks. No way. Like, how many hours do you have a day to actually work, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's straight wisdom right there. That's good.
Awesome.
thank you so much, guys, for this opportunity, and I really hope to see you soon.
We will be in touch. Thank you for your time and for your